The Hour Robert Ryan is with us right now. He's a Los Angeles area attorney at Kuzyk Law who has built a successful practice litigating in state and federal courts throughout California. After rising to membership in a Beverly Hills-based complex litigation boutique, Robert made the life-altering decision 15 years ago to refocus his practice on representing only individuals injured or killed in accidents. Robert, good to have you with us on Bill Martinez Live. How are you?
I'm doing good, Bill. Thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, good to have you here to talk about Tesla. I got to tell you, I love the Tesla car. It's such a great car, but we've had some issues with it. Of course, we're here to talk about the Autopilot crash that the owner himself is not going to sue, but the car insurance says, "Hey, wait a minute, let's talk about this," right?
Well, more bad news for Tesla here. This was an accident in August of this year in Texas, when the 44-year-old Tesla owner had the autopilot feature engaged on the vehicle, and according to him, while he was going around a turn, the vehicle failed to turn with the road and instead crashed into a guardrail and then kept accelerating multiple times until the vehicle was actually destroyed. Wow. Now, the owner of the vehicle just wound up with a bloody nose. However, the problems for Tesla might be from his insurance company. Chubb, who paid the total loss of the vehicle, and these vehicles are expensive,
yes,
is exploring whether they can make a claim called a subrogation claim against Tesla as a result of the autopilot's feature's role in causing this collision.
Well, it would stand I'm not an attorney, you're the expert on this, but it would stand to reason that they would have standing on this, wouldn't they?
Well, like if you get in an accident and your car is smashed up and your insurance company pays you, then your insurance company can pursue whoever they think might be responsible for causing the accident.
Exactly.
And in this particular situation, that's what Chubb is exploring. They want to know whether or not Tesla's autopilot feature is actually played a role in causing this collision so that they can recover, the amount that they paid the owner of the vehicle for its destruction.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the insurance company is probably grateful that it's only the car they had to pay for, a little bloody nose, minor stuff, but thank God it didn't get more complicated than this. Of course, this opens up the whole discussion about the whole autopilot technology that is not only in Tesla but in other automobiles as well.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that technology. We've all heard about that horrible crash in Florida back in June of this year, where an Ohio man, while driving his Tesla Model S on autopilot mode, crashed into a tractor trailer. The top of the car was sheared off, and unfortunately, he was killed. And apparently, the allegation is that the autopilot feature can't distinguish between the white side of the tractor trailer and a cloudy sky. Now, what does this really mean when we talk about autopilot? We've all been hearing about autonomous vehicles. We've heard about Google self-driving vehicles, and we've heard about Ford is trying to develop a pilotless vehicle. And these cars are intended to be fully autonomous, meaning they're not even going to have a driver. And a matter of fact, there's a city in China, in Shanghai, that has an entire fleet of fully autonomous vehicles. Tesla has gone a different way, though. Although they call their car, or they'll call this feature autopilot, the technical term is traffic-aware cruise control. And really all it is, it's an enhanced kind of cruise control that will control acceleration and braking of the car, while combined with that obstacle telling feature that tells us when we're going to back into a car when we're parking it, or that we're going to be pulling too far forward when we're in our garages. And this is not really a true autopilot feature. And Tesla has been subjected to a lot of criticism by the use of the name itself. We've all been on a plane, and we see a pilot coming back out of the cockpit, and he's drinking or he's chatting with the stewardesses or using the restroom, and we say, oh, the plane is on autopilot, right? And so we have this term with Tesla, and people are inclined to think that they can turn on autopilot and then sit in the back seat or stare out the window, or in the case of the Florida crash that killed that man, watching a movie. But it's not really true autopilot. And some people and some critics are saying that the name itself is part of the cause of the problem.
So, and to your point, to me that seems very reasonable, Robert, that, it's like change the marketing materials. Change the language, because we know that words have meaning, and if the interpretation is that, it gives people this sense and a false sense of security that, as you say, they can sit in the back seat, watch a movie, and, wow, I mean, look what's happening here. And these are just two incidences that we're talking about.
Well, we have a couple more incidences, too. We had another case in Montana in June where it was alleged that a vehicle went off the road and hit a bunch of signposts while the autopilot was engaged. But Tesla is saying that, no, the autopilot wasn't engaged in that particular case. And there was also a later accident in Pennsylvania where the car went off the road and crashed into a tree, and the driver was cited for reckless driving, but he's alleging it was the autopilot feature that actually caused that crash. Part of the issue here, Bill, is the whole Tesla mystique. We have Elon Musk, and we have his, advanced technological expertise, and we have his cutting-edge technology marketing. We have SpaceX with his rockets, and we have Tesla, and we have his battery plants in Nevada. We have all of this kind of like hoopla and hype about how cutting edge all of this technology is. And this may be a situation where the marketing has gotten a little ahead of what the technology actually delivers. And Mr. Musk has come into a lot of criticism for that because, as you say, it has seemed to create a misleading impression in the minds of the consumer as to what this feature is really capable of.
Well, Robert, we know that Elon Musk is politically wired. Is this a politically driven situation as well? Because I've got to think, something like this, especially when it is cutting edge, and you've got people dying and getting injured, and there's reports, you almost wonder if he's, because of his political connections, that he's not being held into account versus somebody else.
Well, that remains to be seen. Ironically, they were about to announce some significant changes to this autopilot feature when the SpaceX rocket blew up upon launch at the beginning of this month, and then that delayed this announcement. So a lot of these issues probably will be taken care of in the market. Elon Musk is capable of generating a lot of publicity, a lot of capital, a lot of investment, and so it's very important to his business model that he be seen as being on the leading cutting edge. But when you have these kinds of situations where people are dying, and now we have federal regulators getting involved, that Florida crash that killed that man, that Ohio man, is actually being investigated by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. And they're going to be taking a hard look at this whole autopilot feature, how it's marketed, and how it functions. And that may create some more problems for Mr. Musk and all of his various entities because of the kind of a blow to the overall image that represents.
Well, Robert, I want to bring in the context here. Why? Because some people would say, well, why are we even doing this autopilot, driverless cars thing? You consider that, over 35,000 people were killed in the U.S. Due to auto accidents last year. This according to the NHTSA. The overwhelming majority of vehicle accidents, 94%, are due to human error. So, the people are saying, well, if we minimize human involvement, maybe we can improve on that 35,000 figure.
Bill, that's exactly right, and I'm so glad that you came up with that statistic and that figure. It is operator error that results in the vast majority of vehicle crashes in this country and the vast majority of vehicle crashes that result in death or serious injury. So hence the movement here to try to utilize the technology that's available to see if we can eliminate that from the equation. And of course, Tesla and his supporters would say that the crash rates and the fatality rates in Tesla vehicles are way below that applicable to the vehicle population or the driving population as a whole. And so that's why you see Google and you see Ford coming up with this entirely autonomous vehicle that removes the driver from the equation in its entirety. Well, what Tesla has done here is kind of a half step, kind of a hybrid step, where it's kind of perceived as being an autonomous type of feature.
Robert, we're out of time. We got to leave it right there. Thank you so much for being with us. Robert Ryan on Bill Martinez Live.